Sactown Sports 1140.
Very appropriate rejoiner choice by producer extraordinaire Kyle Ledbetter, because little return of the MAC. Well, Sac State's introducing themselves to the MAC. The Mid-American Conference. Which,
perfect.
Before we get Joe Davidson on here, just for a little logistical idea.
Oh, here we go.
The closest school to Sacramento, Sac State, in the MAC is Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, which is over 2,200 miles away. Technically, Northern Illinois would be the closest at 1,987, but apparently they are leaving the conference this summer. Cowards! Because they don't want to deal with Sac State and the Stingers. And someone who's covered Sac State football, prep sports, UC Davis football, all of it in Sacramento for so long is Joe Davidson. Of course, he's been all over this story, and he joins us now here on Matt and Kayla. Joe, hey, man, we've had many conversations over the years of big events and big moments during this, what I call Sacramento sports renaissance that's been happening. But Sac State football being FBS that's just being able to say that regardless of the circumstance, that's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, Matt. Hi, Kayla. Welcome aboard to Sacramento. You save Matt every day on the airwaves.
Fair,
by the way.
very true.
We could say that officially. We're among friends here. I mean, it's not so boring and dull with Matt. We get some reason and logic with Kayla. So aboard and Matt will laugh nervously because he knows it's true.
It's been fun. It's definitely been fun. Y'all have been so welcoming too.
Well, good. No, Matt, let me just put it this way. So I've been at the Sacramento Bee since 1989. I tell people I was 10. Exactly. I tell people I was a 10-year-old prodigy, and they'll go, really? Now, something like that. But this is one of the great stories we've ever seen around here. And this includes the Kings' great run and other things. But this is, kudos to Mark Orr, the athletic director at Sac State, and President Luke Wood. They said it's going to happen in 2026. I was skeptical. I just didn't think it could be turned around that fast. We know sometimes these things take years. Sac State's been looking into the FBS for several years, moving up from the FCS to the highest classification in college football, was to the FBS, and it's here. And there's a lot of fair criticism, questions on social media, media people around the country. Does this make sense? Logistically, does it make sense? But this is, why not the Pac-12? Why not the Mountain West? Because those conferences did not invite Sac State. These have to be by invitation. You can't just muscle your way into a conference. This is a 5-year deal with the Mid-American. And so that means that in 5 years, Sac State could go to another conference. You can more easily go from Mid-American, the MAC, to the Pac-12 West. Mm-hmm. It's easier to transition if you're already in one FBS conference than if you were still in the FCS. So really, the bottom line is Sac State better off long-term remaining in the FCS in the Big Sky Conference, or being in an FBS conference, which has bowl games, which Sac State will be eligible for soon, which is the better deal, the FBS. Yes, the travel is a nightmare. You're not going to be driving to those games, but ESPN has television with the MAC, and they have Tuesday games, Wednesday games, Thursday games. Isn't that nuts? Well, that's college football. People are nuts for college football. So Sac State likes that. How are they going to pay for it? Well, it's a $23 million price tag. It's not all in one lump sum. The one lump sum that comes up forward right away is a $5 million fee to the NCAA for programs that transition up. Otherwise, it's 5 years. They're going to have corporate sponsors coming out of their ears now because this is suddenly a taste of the big time. I think it's good news for Sac State. I understand the logistical challenges, but, wow, for a program that started in 1954 and really got good to great in the FCS starting in 2019 with Troy Taylor, this is quite a move. And now we'll see if Sacramento comes out and supports it.
Yeah, Joe Davidson joined us from the Sacramento Bee. We're talking about Sac State's move to the MAC. And what I think people forget about around the country is Sacramento is actually a pretty big market when you look at the overall market size. And to not maybe have an FBS program right here, now you're going to have that. How much really can that bring life again to the landscape of college football here?
Well, and that was the appeal for the MAC. The MAC had mutual interest in Sac State because it could stretch into California. Never been in California. And, well, this is ridiculous. How can you have a California team playing teams from the, Ohio and Michigan, all that? Well, how are Cal and Stanford in the ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, which is exactly what it sounds like, East Coast, Duke, North Carolina, schools like that, because it's realignment. Well, why would you realign into that? Because it's long-term financial stability and sustainability. Otherwise, you're just going to get passed up. Oregon Ducks, UCLA, USC, they're in the Big Ten. What are they doing there? Because the Pac-12 fell apart because of a failed television contract deal that would have kept those conferences in place. And there's also this. What's the biggest things in college football survival is recruiting and television money. And Sacramento, and Matt George has seen it over the years on sidelines and going to games, state championship games. We have tremendous high school football in this Sacramento Valley. And a lot of kids like to leave college. They like to leave home for college, or they want to play at the highest level. Well, now they could stay home and play at the highest level in FBS. And the non-conference schedule that Sac State wants to get in the coming years is to have Fresno State. They will open against Fresno State this season. But they also want to get San Jose State, Nevada, create some of those FBS type of quote-unquote regional rivalries. And then I think all those teams think they could beat the other. Nevada thinks they could beat San Jose. San Jose thinks they could beat Nevada, and they all think they could beat Sac State. So play them. And unfortunately, it will not include Sac State versus UC Davis. That Causeway Classic started in 1954 when Sac State started football. It just doesn't fit. And so you find a way. So if this helps with recruiting, and recruiting helps with winning, and sponsorships help make for a better stadium, and television revenue and television viewership and ratings, it's just all – the only thing that could make it a disaster if Sac State goes out there and falls on its face mask. Yeah. And anything can happen. Sac State's going to have 50 new players at least with a new coach, Alonzo Carter, who's a terrific personality and recruiter. And we know what the bottom line is. Got to produce, or it looks like a bad move. But I think I think it's a good move. It's a move up. And so now the curiosity really begins.
Joe, I want to read a line from the article that you recently released just about this move and all the details about this move. And it branches outside of sports a little bit, but a major question, a major topic of conversation when talking about this move and the price tag that Sac State is paying in order to move to the MAC. Your line from this story is this. Wood, meaning Dr. Wood, said student fees, tuition dollars, and state funds will not be used for conference entry fees. I think that's a really important aspect of this conversation. Is this is a big investment by this university. This is a big jump, and they're paying hefty for it. But it's not their students. It's that money is coming from somewhere, and it's not the pockets of the people who are there to get their education and get their diplomas, right?
Exactly right. And the students are encouraged to come to Sac State sporting events. They get in for free. And in fact, they have paid for it. They agreed to do tuition hikes in recent years to make it all work. It's not like thousands of dollars every semester, but it's a long-term investment. And Luke Wood, the president, and Mark Orr, the athletic director, they see the vision of this really being a great boost for all of Sacramento. Wouldn't it be great for Sac State football to be in a bowl game?
Oh yeah.
Even if it's the Snoop Dogg, weed whacker bowl. There was a Snoop Dogg bowl last year, which had a MAC team in it, by the way. Of course it would be. There's going to be more curiosity and interest in with this FBS new alignment than it would be for the Big Sky, which has teams in Utah and Colorado and Montana and such. And so there you are. And so how is it going to be paid for? It's going to be ticket sales, corporate sponsors. There's going to be more. People like to rub elbows with something big and popular and growing. And then it's also important to know, Matt and Kayla, that what about all the other sports for Sac State? All the other sports for Sac State will be entering the Big West starting this summer, and the Big West is big on California. UC Santa Barbara, Cal Poly, Riverside, Fullerton, Long Beach. So that makes sense for men's basketball with Mike Bibby. You don't think he can't recruit down there? He will. And baseball and softball. But, well, why not play football in the Big West? They don't have football. All those schools dropped football years ago, except for Cal Poly. They're in the Big Sky Conference.
Joe Davidson of the Sac Bee, he is joining us. We're talking about Sac State's move to the MAC. Joe, I'm curious. I'm a Pac-12 grad, Washington State, and clearly, they're rebuilding the Pac-12. And originally, it was reported that Sacramento State wanted to be a part of that Pac-12. Do you feel long-term, Joe, that could be a spot they would eye if they were successful with the MAC?
Oh, yeah, Kayla, I think absolutely. It regionally makes sense. And President Wood talked about that yesterday. He said it wasn't Sac State's sole ambition to go to the Pac-12. There was a local committee in Sacramento of elected government officials and Sac State alum who tried to get the Sac-12 thing going. Let's join the Pac-12. And it's good business for Sac State and conferences to listen to each other. And I don't think it worked with the Pac-12 because of maybe the stadium wasn't quite up to par. Sac State is working on Hornet Stadium. But the whole ambition for Sac State with Wood and Orr was let's get into the FBS somehow, some way, sooner than later. I thought they're going to be FCS independent this season, which means no conference affiliation. They're going to be a bunch of road games, and this could be a problem. And then in talking to Luke Wood at Sac State men's basketball games, he would say, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. And they pulled it off. So, yes, to answer your question, Kayla, they could potentially – I mean, it could be where other conferences says, hey, we like your brand, and Sac State's doing well. There's entertainment. Would you be interested in joining our conference? And here's the thing about college athletics. I think we could all agree. It's great to win games, but you got to at least have an entertaining product.
Yeah. Yes.
You can't have a boring football team. You can't have a football team that averages 12.5 points. You can't have a basketball team that isn't entertaining. You got to have some shooters and dunkers. And Sac State men's basketball is 9-2 at home this season, winless on the road. It's a topic for another day. But they're entertaining as all can be at home. And Sac State football in recent years, since 2019 with Troy Taylor as coach, have been super exciting, prolific, entertaining, and gets people talking. And people don't want to go out and get bored. Yeah. And I think – I don't know how many wins Sac State will have, but I don't think they'll be boring in football.
Joe, I want to throw a bit of a curveball at you with this conversation because I'm very curious about this. You brought up the UC Davis Aggies football team as the Causeway Classic no longer going to exist. UC Davis has had a tremendous amount of success in the Big Sky as of late. And we know head coach Tim Plow, love him to death because he's not afraid to speak his mind. He's not afraid to stand up for his guys and be very vocal and very out front. He's a UC Davis alumni after all, right? So there's obviously a lot of pride there. How do you feel, or how do you think UC Davis feels any sort of way about this move to the FBS, Sac State showing it's possible? Does that, you think, spur or encourage any kind of movement from UC Davis to try and do the same and follow suit? Of course, they've had a tremendous amount of success as of late in the FCS, and they're a very, very fun, entertaining product as well that's turned out a lot of talent over there. From your standpoint, as someone who's covered both these programs so closely over the years, do you think one impacts the other and vice versa?
Great question. As it stands now, Matt, UC Davis is perfectly happy at the FCS. The Aggies like being in the Big West or the Big Sky Conference. Tim Plow just signed a contract extension. People will always say, all the experts on social media, they all know what they're talking about. Oh, well, he should take this job here or there. No, man, why not stay where it's comfortable?
Yeah.
He met his wife at UC Davis when they were students. They're happy. They have 3 little boys. He wants to keep achieving. He wants to win a national championship or get to a national championship in the FCS. They have about 10,000, 11,000 seating. It's not big enough for FBS. They're happy where they are now. But I think long term, the Aggies are certainly going to explore options. The UC Davis Athletic, all the other teams but football will join the Mountain West after many years in the Big West. Big picture, UC Davis over the many years I've done this has genuinely frowned on Sac State. They like to mock them on social media posts when they lose a game, especially if they lose a game to UC Davis. It's not even certain that UC Davis and Sac State will continue basketball in a non-league game, non-conference game, because they're not conference affiliated. And Mark Orr, the athletic director for Sac State, said yesterday that it's up. The ball is in UC Davis's court to maybe extend the Causeway Classic. I talked to Rocco DeLuca, the athletic director for UCD, about that topic before this last Causeway Classic between the schools, and he said, we're not in the business of canceling contracts. You have signed contracts with opponents. It's bad business to be canceling those, even if you do buy them out, because then how's that other team going to get a schedule? Right. So I think they have an eye on it. I think there's a lot of UC Davis people who would like to see Sac State. They would love nothing more than to see Sac State faceplant. That's fierce rivalry type of vibes going on there. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, that's a good question, and I think UC Davis will continue to do good things in the Big Sky Football Conference, especially when you have a great coach like Tim Plow.
Joe, is there, and I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but is there any way that, they're signing a 5-year contract in the MAC? Is there anything that can happen where they could possibly leave early? Because I know, being someone who's been under contracts my whole life, the employer, you as the employee, you don't get all the benefits sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. That's worth exploring. Let's say they do it for 3 years, and then all of a sudden the Pac-12 or the Mountain West or another conference says, we want you. Who pays for the buyout fees?
Yeah.
Certainly there'll be a team that will fill in. Northern Illinois University is the team that's leading the MAC. They're going to the Mountain West, which opened the door for Sac State. If a team doesn't leave that conference, they're not going to add another team. So that's what happened there. But, this realignment is so goofy, as we talked about earlier. You got West Coast teams playing in the right. East Coast conferences and all that. So anything can happen. Yeah. We can't be surprised by anything now. But I would think there would be some hefty deal or buyout, because Sac State's paying some $23 million, not in one lump sum, but over 5 years. So I think they would have to pay all of that. It's not going to be a way to get out of a thing. But if Sac State gets offers or feelers from other conferences, they're going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, final thing for you, my friend. One of the logistics that caught my eye about this deal is not only does Sacramento have to figure out the cost of getting their football team down to those road games 4 times a year, now they got to pay to fly out the 4 home opponents, and it's estimated upwards of $200,000 or something like that. A lot of people might read that and just go, well, the MAC is like, it's very pay to play, and the MAC is not necessarily abusing Sac State, but just forcing Sac State to foot every little bill they possibly can to bring them in, like the MAC is doing Sac State a favor. Or I guess the best analogy to use is like Sac State is paying to hang out with the cool kids or sit at the lunch table, right? But
that's exactly. Well, you know what? Good point, though, Matt. But here, how about this perspective?
Yeah.
In an effort to smoothly streamline this transaction, maybe it's good business for Sac State to say, hey, we'll make it easier by paying the travel costs for the 4 teams that come our way. Get this thing going.
Yeah.
You don't want this thing stretching out.
Well, and Sac State's not doing this if they don't believe that they're going to recoup that money tenfold, right? Like, that's the idea.
Exactly right. And some people, this is ridiculous. 12. Well, they're not playing 12 MAC teams. They're playing 4.
Yeah.
And they're not paying for everybody to travel to to play each other. So obviously they have a plan. They've mapped it out. They've budgeted it. It's between $150,000 and $200,000 to get a whole team out to Sacramento and lodging and food and all that kind of thing. And but it's a small price to pay. It's not our money, but we'll see how they do it. And I think it's good business. And, I got the release from the MAC commissioners and the presidents, and they all rave. They're supposed to rave, but they all just rave about having Sac State because they know that's a good boost for them. I mean, Sacramento probably has more name recognition in the Midwest. People know it's in California than us out here in the West thinking, okay, what state is Toledo in, or Ball State or Akron? What are their mascots? Those kind of things. But that's where new rivalries start, and I'd be curious to see. And my girlfriend likes to tease me that she's been to Canton, Ohio twice for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now she said, "Oh, well, maybe we'll do a road trip." All right, rub it in. But anyways, how fitting that Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is right there, nestled right there in the heart of the MAC conference.
Pretty cool. Joe, I'll sneak in one more thing, too. Nothing's changed in terms of the initiative for Sac State to also build a new stadium, right? They're still very much hunting on trying to do that.
Yes, good question, Matt. This is what Kayla does. She brings out the best of Matt George, you know. So
he has to up his game.
I just got to keep up,
He
Joe.
does.
I just got to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
I know. This is great. Thanks for not saying, "Hey, is it raining today?" No, it's not. What about you? But Sac State is undergoing facility upgrades at Hornet Stadium, which seats about 22,000. They're working on a deal to get a long-term stadium at Cal Expo. Does that seem absurd? That's about 7 miles from campus, 5 miles from campus. You do whatever you can to get good facilities, and Sac State would not be using state money for that either. So it'll be curious. And you know what helps get things built? Sponsorships. Yeah. And they're coming out of the woodwork now to jump on with Sac State. And that includes casinos, and there's big money in those, and signage and sponsorships and all that. So that's what's paying for it. And Luke Wood also said yesterday that with all this revenue, they'll be able to add classes and course loads on campus. It's potentially a boom for everybody.
Love that. Joe Davidson, he's been all over this story, and he's just getting started, of course, during football season. He'll be covering both Sac State and UC Davis football, prep sports as well. Joe, we're going to have you back. Just book it now when it's almost fall and high school football season's right around the corner.
I'm excited.
I won't be out there at as many Friday nights as I used to be, so I'm going to rely on you even more on this show to give us all the stories around prep sports as well, my friend. We appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you guys. And, high school basketball playoffs start this week. If you want to see teams that actually set screens and use fundamentals as compared to the wreck that you see with the Kings, go on and watch a high school game.
There you go.
There's a good basketball inside the Golden One Center joke that I will not make, Joe. I will not make it.
Well, the section basketball finals are at Golden One, and the CIF State High School Basketball Championships at the Golden One. So, and then March Madness for women's basketball next month will have a stopover at Golden One. So there is top flight basketball being played at that venue.
Joe will be there for all of that, and he loves when you come up and ask for autographs and pictures. So do not hesitate to ask for autographs and pictures and hugs. He loves hugs.
That's high fives, maybe, all that kind of stuff. So. I appreciate you guys. Good to join you.
Great to talk to you, Joe. We'll do it again
so much,
really
Joe.
soon. The great Joe Davidson joining us here, man. Look, there are some things that I'm definitely skeptical about when it comes to this move to the MAC and some crazy stuff. But Joe puts it in a good perspective. It ain't my money. Like, it's not like I might be skeptical, but I got no horse in the race other than the fact that now there's FBS football in my home city. So, if anything, how can that not be a positive?
I think if you are in Sacramento and you know it's not coming out of your pocket, you should be thrilled for this move. And I say that coming from someone who's covered a lot of great college football in different markets. And Sacramento, again, is a market 20. That is a big market.
Yep.
And for them to have, FCS teams is great, but FBS is different. It's a different level. And I think it's exciting for, Sacramento State to have this opportunity. And you can say whatever you want about pay to play, and that's true. Mm-hmm. But I do see it as if they are that, confident in what their product could be down the road, this is what you have to do. You have to seize the moment. And with, Illinois State that left?
Yep.
That is a small opening for a team, and they clearly liked the fact that Sacramento TV market is big, and so for the MAC, that's a win too.
Yeah.
It makes sense right now, and then you prove your product, and then you get closer to home and join the Pac-12 or something like that, where it makes it easier on all of us.
You can't score if you can't get in the game.
Right.
So now they're in the game. Now let's see how much attention they can draw. By the way, speaking to the top 20 market thing, that's not just something that we say. My former partner at ABC 10, Kevin John, was going back and forth with some people about this on social media. People going, Sacramento's not a top 20 market. Forget about it.
Y'all
blah blah
don't
blah.
know it.
No, y'all
Sorry.
and I have the rankings in front of me. Sacramento is quite literally 20th. It's Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto. To be fair, it's all lumped.
It doesn't matter.
But to put it into perspective, it's ahead of Charlotte. It's ahead of Portland. It's ahead of St. Louis.
Nashville.
It's right behind, one spot behind Cleveland, Akron, Canton.
Yep.
2 spots behind Miami, Fort Lauderdale. 3 spots behind Denver. Right behind Minnesota. So Sacramento's in the mix with all of these massive cities. You may not think it, but it is. And there's going to be money to be made.
That's why y'all need more pro teams too.
Preaching to the choir. We're renting a baseball team, damn it.
I know. I'm very passionate about that whole thing.
We're renting the team. I mean, if Las Vegas wants to decide to, fall apart or get their own damn team, well, I mean, I'd rather them be back in Oakland, if I'm being completely honest with you, as an Oakland A's fan, long time. But we got a baseball team here a little bit, and we got the Sacramento Republic FC, high quality USL soccer club. They got a new stadium being built downtown in the rail yards, which I'm very excited about. I've been calling it a Sacramento sports renaissance because it really has been.
Positive. I really do believe this. Positive things to come in the future for this city when it comes to sports, because it's a big enough city to support it.
Because Kayla Anderson is here
and
now. That's what you meant to say.
That as well.
Positive stuff coming to Sacramento sports because Kayla Anderson is here. We'll take the break. When we come back, the NBA All-Star Game, we've been trying to get it here for a while. The hotel infrastructure
is that the big?
It's pretty much.
Okay.
That's what's been the issue. That's what's been in the way. So that probably isn't happening anytime soon. But after the success that was All-Star Sunday, should we expect it to have the same success again? We'll break that down, dive into that before Crosstalk with Whitey Gleason and Alan Stiles, the Drive guys, to wrap up the show. It's flown by because we're having fun here on Sactown Sports.